Prabhuji, got it. Please go ahead. Sorry for the delay.
No problem. Thank you. Bhajaho re mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. Bhajaho re mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तारो है ये बाबा सिंदूरे. भजहो रे मन श्री नंद नंदन अभय चरणार विंदरे. सीता तापा बात बरीशन ये दिन जामिनी जागिरे. विपल से विनु कृपण दुर्जन चपल सुगल भागिरे. विपल से विनु कृपण दुर्जन चपल सुकल भागिरे. भजहो रे मन श्री नंदनंदन अभय चरणार विंदरे. ये धन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इते कियाचे परती तीरे. कमल दला जल जीवन तलमल भजहो हरि पदानी तीरे. कमल दला जल जीवन तलमल भजहो हरि पदानी तीरे. भजहो रे मन श्री नंदनंदन अभय चरणार विंदरे. श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदन पाद सेवन दास्य रे. पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन गोविंद दासाभिलाष रे. श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदन पाद सेवन दास्य रे. पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन गोविंद दासाभिलाष रे. भजहो रे मन श्री नंदनंदन अभय चरणार विंदरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे. हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. भजहो रे मन श्री नंदनंदन अभय चरणार विंदरे. नाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च. श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं. श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Buddhamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namah Pankaja Nabhaya Namah Pankaja Maline Namah Pankaja Netraya Namaste Pankajangre Namo Mahabadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Gau Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kum karoti vachalam pangam langayate kurumne tupratam Mahamande Shri Gurudina Taranam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Avitro Pavitro Va Sarvavastapatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabhyakya Vyantara Suchi Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Matajis. Very much for joining the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20. It's an absolute coincidence today. Exactly 1 year back, on the occasion of Bhadra Purnima, I've been chosen by His Grace Lilananda Prabhu and His Grace Praveen Prabhu at that time to give a class on Srimad Bhagavatam. Then I spoke about glories of Bhagavatam 1 year back. And exactly after 1 year, though it was not, it was yesterday, Bhadra Purnima, immediate day of Bhadra Purnima, again I got an opportunity to discuss a few points which I've learned from my gurus and senior Vaishnavas on Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you very much, Shilpa Mataji. Thank you for giving me opportunity on this day. I feel very blessed. Maybe it's coincidence or plan of Krishna, I don't know. So somehow I get chance to talk on Bhagavatam on or immediately the next day of Bhadra Purnima. I'm so humbled. Thank you very much.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Hare Bol, Prabhuji, very nice. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare
I am sorry, Prabhuji. I'm nowhere qualified to talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. Yesterday evening, we did a small kirtan and arati to Srimad Bhagavatam in Aparna communities. And looking at the lectures and which I heard, and I've given a small talk on Bhagavatam. So how the Bhagavatam has appeared on the earth. So I felt, I don't know, I mean, how am I qualified? Which way am I qualified to talk about Srimad Bhagavatam? But on the order of my guru, His Grace Lilananda Prabhuji, that I'll make an attempt to talk to at least discuss few points about Bhagavatam. Right. So we're going to discuss about Canto 4 on Chapter 20. Before that, I offer my humble obeisances to everyone who joined this call today. Akinchan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Shilpa Mataji, Hare Krishna,
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Raja Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Raja Prabhuji is my mama. He's joining from Chennai. I didn't realize that is you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome Raja Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Lilananda Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Sincere thanks to you, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat Pranam.
Leela Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat.
Praveen Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Nirupama Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Manaswita Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hari Prabhu, Hari Bol. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Tatyani Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Madhavi Mataji, Prasad Prabhu, thanks for joining. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Satyadev Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Ram Reddy Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for joining, Prabhu.
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Giriraj Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Anandram Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Thanks for joining.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Masudan Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Subbarao Prabhu, thank you very much for joining, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Let's go into the discussion. So, Canto 4, chapter 20. This is about Prithu Maharaj Prithu. And we have been discussing for last couple of sessions about the background of how Maharaj Prithu has started his completed his 99 sacrifices and want to do the 100th sacrifice, and how Indra started obstructing him, and how he tried stopping him, and after all these things, and there was almost a fight between Indra and Maharaj Prithu, where Lord Brahma finally appeared, and he kind of got both of them into the compromise. And we heard about all these things for last couple of sessions through our other devotees. So today we are going to discuss about after coming to a compromise, basically, Lord Vishnu himself appears in the arena, and he talks to
Yes, only. Yes, only. Yes, only.
So Lord Vishnu himself appears, and he talks to Maharaj Prithu along with the Indra. So we will see what is going to happen today. So this chapter has 38 shlokas. Due to the lack of time, I will be covering the first 20 shlokas, and His Grace Prasad Prabhu tomorrow will cover the next section of the chapter, maybe the rest of the 18 shlokas. So as usual, we follow a standard format. I will recite the first shloka with the translation. After that, all the devotees can take turns, and then one by one we can read the translation, and we will discuss the purports. Number one, shloka, verse number 1. Maitreya uvacha bhagavanapi vaikuntaha sakam magvata vibhuhu yagnair yagnapatistusto yagna bhuktama bhasata. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, being very much satisfied by the performance of 99 horse sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, appeared on the scene. Accompanying him was King Indra. Lord Vishnu then began to speak." So that's the starting of this chapter. We'll see what Lord Vishnu, Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, started speaking. Yes, the translation of the second shloka. Can one of you read that? Hare Krishna. One of the devotees can read the translation of the second shloka.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, "My dear King Prithu, Indra, the King of Heaven, has disturbed your execution of 100 sacrifices. Now he has come with me to be forgiven by you. Therefore, excuse him." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Third translation. One of you can read this.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. One who is advanced in intelligence and eager to perform welfare activities for others is considered best amongst human beings. An advanced human being is never malicious to others. Those with advanced intelligence are always conscious that this material body is different from the soul.
Hari Bol. Now we'll go into the purports of these three verses. Purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So number one, from the second verse, if you see, Prabhupada mentions the significance of the word Atmanam. In the second verse, probably the third line of the shloka, you can see Atmanam. So Prabhupada says that, the word of Atmanam has a lot of significance. So basically, it means that the transcendentalist who never accepts this body or the activities of the body, that a living being is only a body, basically. So those people are called Atmanam. And it is a regular custom for Gnanis and Yogis to call one another as Atmanam, basically. Like if Lord Vishnu is calling Lord Prithu as Atmanam, that means he is giving that importance to Maharaj Prithu. Right? He's saying that, you are Atmanam. That means Maharaj Prithu is so well realized and highly conscious person who definitely knows that I am not this body, I am the soul. So that's the reason the word Atmanam is used in this verse. So here, what we'll have to look at, Prabhujis and Matajis, 99 or 100, which is great. If you look at it, the first verse also, Maitreya Muni says, after finishing 99 sacrifices, 100th sacrifice, what he's trying to do was disturbed by Indra. But if we look at materialistically, basically 99 or 100, which is great. So obviously, if we look very materialistic approach, 100 is the greatest number, right? Anything. I mean, even if we look at any marks of our children, right? Somebody got 100 out of 100 in math versus somebody got 99. So definitely person who got 100 is much greater than the person who got 99. But here in this scenario, Prabhupada explains that 99 is much greater than 100. Why? That 99 shook the entire world, right? Indra had to come into the situation and try to disturb that 100th sacrifice. And Lord Brahma had to come and compromise between Indra and Maharaj Prithu. And finally, looking at the determination of Maharaj Prithu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu himself came. So it is explained that in this particular scenario, spiritually, if we look at that, it is not the number. It is the determination, a lot of other factors which we are going to discuss as we progress into this chapter. So 99 is much greater than 100. Why did Lord Vishnu ask King Prithu to forgive him? Right? In the second shloka, if you see that, right? So he says that, my dear King Prithu, Indra, the king of heaven, has disturbed your execution on 100 sacrifices. Now he has come with me to be forgiven by you. That means he's asking to forgive Indra. Why? When he's done a mistake, right? How can Supreme Lord ask Maharaj Prithu to forgive him? Right? Prabhupada explains that though Indra has done a mistake, he is not somebody who need to be looked with a demeaning vision. It is not, because he is not an ordinary person. Doing 100 sacrifices and going to the position of Indra is not easy. An ordinary soul cannot do that, right? Therefore, though there are mistakes committed, right, it will have to be looked at in a different way. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in 10th chapter, right? Apite sudaracharo bhajate mam. No, I think, sorry, 9th chapter. Apite sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. Sadur reva samantavya samyog. Samyog Vyavatahi Sohisha. He says, what does this mean? My devotee, even if he commits a heinous crime, when he is in the right situation, right? He should be considered still as a saint. Even Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Therefore, Lord Vishnu has come along with King Indra to ask Maharaj Prithu to forgive him. Because he understands that at the end of the day, he is in a material world. Though he's in a heavenly planet, he's a part of material world. So it is not easy to get out of the influence of three modes of material nature. Therefore, Lord Vishnu himself is asking to please forgive Indra for whatever the mistake that he's done. And if we look at third shloka, Vishnu is talking about material body is different from soul, right? Those with the advanced intelligence are always conscious that this material body is different from soul, right? And this is one of the basis of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita starting, Krishna talks so many things about this, that this body is not a soul and soul travels from one body to other. Like, there are a lot of things Bhagavad Gita explains about that, and gives us a clear understanding that we are different. Soul is different from body, right? We should never identify ourselves with the body, right? Hare Krishna. Fourth translation. Can one of you read it, Prabhujis and Matajis?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, translated.
Hare Krishna.
Translation: if a personality like you, who are so much advanced because of executing the instructions of the previous acharyas, is carried away by the influence of my material energy, then all your advancement may be considered simply a waste of time.
Very good. Thank you, Prabhu. Sixth verse translation.
Can I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, please, Prabhu.
How can a highly learned person who has absolutely no affinity for the bodily conception of life be affected by the bodily conception in regard to house, children, wealth, and similar other bodily productions?
Very well. Fifth translation. Yeah, one of Matajis can do that probably.
Those who are in full knowledge of the bodily conception of life, who know that this body is composed of nescience. What is that, Prabhuji?
Nescience, yeah.
Nescience, desires, and activities resulting from illusion do not become addicted to the body.
Very well. We'll go into the purports of these three shlokas. So in shloka 4, verse 4, in the last line, we can see Vriddha Sevaya. Prabhupada explains that this particular word, Vriddha Sevaya, is very, very significant. What does it mean? Vriddha means old, Sevaya means by service. Old here does not mean that somebody is old as per the age, right? That means old people, right, who are very senior, right? That's what exactly Prabhupada means here, right? Or this particular word means, right? That means acharyas. So Prabhupada explains that following the footsteps of acharyas, and it is possible to get the perfect knowledge only from those acharyas who are coming in the lineage or the parampara, right? Therefore, Lord Vishnu has used this word called Vriddha Sevaya. That means Prithu Maharaj is not an ordinary person. He is a very, very learned scholar, right? So he got the knowledge from acharyas who are coming in the paramparas. Therefore, he is so humble, and immediately he understood what Lord Brahma was saying, why he is asking him to compromise, right? And why Lord Vishnu is asking him to forgive Indra. Therefore, immediately he did that. He is not envy at all, right? Because he has that kind of knowledge, the right knowledge which is coming from parampara, not from anybody, anybody just like that, right? Therefore, we cannot consider Prithu Maharaj is just an ordinary person. If he is just an ordinary person, why would Lord Vishnu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, come himself into his arena, right? Therefore, he is definitely an odd person, right? He's a Mahatma. right? Fifth and sixth verses primarily discusses about bodily concept and what are yajnas prescribed for, right? Ideally, Bhagavad Gita also talks about this. In third chapter, Krishna says, Yajnartat karma nonyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tatatham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samachara. He says, ideally, all these yajnas are eventually prescribed to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Whatever yajnas that we are doing, it is ultimate reason for the yajnas is to satisfy him, right? And also, there are several references in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram, right? Ultimate thing for the yajnas, sacrifice, is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, and he's the ultimate Bhokta, right? There are a lot of such references in Bhagavad Gita if you look at. But in the next slokas, we are going to discuss that in detail. But actually, Lord Vishnu himself says he is not actually satisfied with yajnas. There is something that we are supposed to do beyond yajnas, right? What is that? Krishna gives that information to us, that hint to us in Bhagavad Gita 4.2.45. He says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandyo Nitya Sattvasto Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Right? Why? Why is Lord Vishnu is not satisfied with yajnas, only by yajnas? And why is Lord Krishna saying 3 modes of material nature, but don't get into these 3 modes of material nature? Be above it, above the 3 modes. Situate yourself above the 3 modes of material nature. That is Shuddha Sattva, right? In the form of Atmavan. Why? Because it is explained by Srila Prabhupada in this purport that Vedas primarily deal with 3 modes of material nature. Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and Sattvaguna. And all the material activities, including karma kandas, right? But what Bhagavad Gita teaches us, what Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us is, raise yourself above these 3 modes of material nature or the karmas. Because Vedas primarily discuss about only these things, right? That is where Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam teaches us not just this. There is something above this. You will have to situate yourself there, right? Thank you. Number 7. Yeah, one of you can read this.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prasad.
Okay. The individual soul is one, pure, non-material, and self-effulgent. He is the reservoir of all good qualities, and he is all pervading. He is without material covering, and he is the witness of all activities. He is completely distinguished from other living entities, and he is transcendental to all embodied souls. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Bol.
you. Hare Bol.
Yeah. 8th translation. One of you can do this.
I'll do that, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Although within the material nature, one who is thus situated in full knowledge of the Paramatma and Atma is never affected by the modes of material nature. For he is always situated in my transcendental loving service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, 9th one.
I'll continue, Prabhu.
Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, continued, My dear King Prithu, when one situated in his occupational duty engages in my loving service without motive for material gain, he gradually becomes very satisfied within. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Hare Bol. So we'll go into the purports. 7th verse, if you look at Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives a commentary on the 7th verse, right? He says, Lord Vishnu is describing himself to be Paramatma here, right? If you see the last word Paraha, he himself describes himself as Paramatma or Paraha. Para here means Eka or one, right? So that's the exact meaning of Paraha. Paraha means Eka in Sanskrit, or in English, it is one. That means Lord is considered, Lord is one, whatever it is, right? Whether, we cannot differentiate of Lord like what we differentiate as a living entity or a human entity. Like, we are a different soul and different body. Lord is like that, not like that. He is one, always. But a conditioned soul, that means living entity like us, we are not one. We are different. Our soul and a body. We have only taken rent of this body. Our soul is main, right? One day, we'll all have to vacate this body and go back. Right? So that's the commentary of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura on this 7th verse. And if you see, Prabhupada explains about Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam, right? So Prabhupada explains that, in terms of this verses, what is the meaning of Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam, right? Living entities entangled in the material world are not pure, right? Though when we are born, right, we have a different aspect altogether, but due to the advent of the material nature or the influence of the material nature on us, we get contaminated, right? We can never be pure. But whereas Supreme Personality of Godhead, though he comes into this material world, he will never be contaminated with the force of the material world or three modes of material nature. So that's exactly what, it means. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. So Prabhupada explains this in relation with the 7th and 8th verse. Saguna Triguna Nirguna. Again, he's explaining about how does the occupational duty engages and material nature it influences, right? Saguna means, living entities are contaminated by the modes of material nature, as we just spoke. Nirguna means Lord will never get contaminated, right? There are certain theories, Prabhuji and Mataji's, when I was reading through, some of the articles and some of the lectures, senior Vaishnavas and senior Acharyas, they mentioned that, Nirguna, there is a misconception of Nirguna that, people feel that Krishna, when it refers to Nirguna, that means Krishna does not have any gunas, right? They say Nirakara Nirguna, especially impersonalists. Right? Mayavadis, they say that, Lord is Nirakara Nirguna. But there is a different meaning of Nirakara Nirguna. Nirakara, as per the understanding of impersonalists, it says that Lord does not have a form, right? But actual meaning of Nirakara is Lord definitely has a form, but not the form like what we have. That's the actual meaning of Nirakara. Lord has a form which has Sat Chit Ananda. That's the actual form of a Lord. And the form of living entities or a conditioned soul like us is Achit, Asat, Achit, Nirananda. Right? So that's the difference of Nirakara and Nirguna. Nirguna means, again, impersonalists feel that Lord does not have any gunas. No, Lord definitely has gunas. Right? In this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada also explains that it is the potency of the Lord, certain potencies, including the sex pleasure of the Lord, right, which we get little part of it. That's the reason we have. All this, all the qualities that we have are primarily from the Lord, right? Therefore, God has gunas. It is just that Nirguna means those gunas are not same as what we have. He has much more higher gunas because he cannot be contaminated or get influenced by the three modes of material nature. Whereas conditioned souls like us, we can easily get influenced by them due to the influence of the material nature. Living entities are not affected by the material qualities, right? So, this is regarding the 8th verse. So how can it be? Because we were just talking living entities are affected by the material qualities or the modes of material nature. Then Prabhuji, how are we saying that living entities are not affected by the material qualities? Right? Prabhupada explains in this purport. When Lord Krishna appears on this earth, right? Though he is physically appeared on this earth, right? He will still not be affected by the modes of material nature. Never, nothing can affect him, right? We are different. We can easily be affected by the modes of material nature. But somebody who takes the shelter of Lord Krishna, right? Somebody takes the, sticks to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains that even modes of material nature will not affect them. And Bhagavad Gita also supports this. In 7th chapter, Krishna says, Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Ma mevaye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So he only says, it is not easy to cross the ocean of material nature. Only way to cross is holding my lotus feet. Right? So again, Srimad Bhagavatam is also supporting that. Right? It is not easy. Right? Lord Krishna, though he appears, he can never be influenced by modes of material nature, but humans can. And what is the only way that we can cross it? By holding the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Right? Yes, 8.7. And if you see in the 8th shloka, right, Lord Vishnu says that although within the material nature, one who is thus situated in full knowledge, about 9th one, when one situated in the occupational duty engages in my loving service without motive for material gain, he gradually becomes satisfied. That means always be in my service, right? And do your duty without expecting any result, and you are satisfied, right? And in Bhagavad Gita also, in 8th chapter, 8.7, right? Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. Mai arpita manobuddhir mam eva yashasvi samshayaha. Right? So he says to Arjuna, oh Arjuna, do your duty of fighting, but remember me. Right? He says, remember me consistently, constantly, do your duty of fighting. In that way, you will not have any of the consequences that you will have to face, or nothing will affect you, right? But here, Prabhuji and Matajis, when we read that purport in the 8th chapter of 7th sloka, there is a difference. If you observe, Krishna is saying, think of me and fight. He's not saying other way around. He's not saying, fight and then think of me, or while fighting, you think of me. He's not saying that. He's only saying, think of me consistently and then do your duty. In that situation, maybe he's asking Arjuna to fight. But for us, maybe doing our normal material duties also, because Bhagavad Gita never supports renouncing our duties. It could be our family or job or whatever it is. It never supports. In the Karma Yoga chapter, in the 3rd chapter also, Krishna says very clearly, never ever. Right? False renunciation is dangerous, in fact. Right? So we will have to continue our duty and always situate ourselves in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord. But why is Krishna saying, first think of me and then do it? Anyone, any answers? Any reflections on this? Why first think of him and then perform the duty?
Because
why only that way?
Hare
Why not other way around?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. First we think of Krishna because, okay, we're not the doer, Prabhu. Okay. We always think we are the doer, but actually we are not the doer. Okay.
Yes.
We should think that Krishna is the doer. Okay?
Yes.
Then after whether completion, you will not get ahankara.
Yes. Yes. Hari Bol. Very nice, Prabhuji. Yes. Any more? Any more reflections?
Just my 2 cents, Prabhu. While
Yes.
we are doing anything, I think it is for Krishna that we are doing it, right? So obviously, we are keeping him in the center and going ahead with whatever activities that we actually do it. I think we are doing it for him, and we are keeping Krishna always in the center.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Very nice, Prabhuji. Amazing, amazing answers. Prabhupada gives little bit of different view on this particular thing. Why Krishna says, think of me and then you do your duty first. So it is explained that when the rocket need to be launched, this is not Prabhupada's explanation. I saw it from a different, Maharaj on this. So when the rocket is supposed to be launched, first it need to have a very strong platform, right? We cannot just launch the rocket just like that, right? It need to have a very strong platform where that, whatever that physics, whatever you call that, right? That dynamics should come from beneath, which pushes the rocket into the space, right? that landing or that platform is Krishna for us, right? When we situate our mind on Krishna continuously, everything will be auspicious. And Krishna himself will guide us. Like the way that platform is pushing the rocket into the space with more thermo energy or thermodynamics or whatever you call it, right? Technically, in the same way, when we situate ourselves in Krishna consciousness and always engage ourselves in the devotional service of Lord, he himself will give us the strength to do our duty. And our thought process will be in a right way, because we are situated in a right mood at that particular time, thinking of Krishna, right? Therefore, we will not deviate. We will go in one particular way, right? That's the explanation which gives. Anyone for translation? Some of you haven't done.
Can I do, Prabhuji?
Yes, please, Giriraj Prabhu.
Sloka also recitation of
You can just do the translation, Prabhu.
When the heart is cleansed of all material contamination, the devotee's mind becomes broader and transparent, and he can see things equally. At that stage of life, there is peace, and one is situated equally with me as Sachidananda Vigraha.
Very good.
Thank you.
11. Yes, anyone else?
You want me to read, Prabhu?
Yeah, please, Prabhu.
Anyone who knows that this material body made of the 5 gross elements, the sense organs, the working senses, and the mind, is simply supervised by the fixed soul, is eligible to be liberated from material bondage.
Very good. 12th verse. Any of you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Satyadev Prabhu.
Yeah. Lord Vishnu told King Prithu, my dear king, the constant change of this material world is due to the interaction of the 3 modes of material nature. The 5 elements, the senses, the demigods who control the senses, as well as the mind, which is agitated by the spirit soul. All these taken together comprise the body. Since the spirit soul is completely different from the combination of the gross and subtle material elements, my devotee who is connected with me in intense friendship and affection, being completely in knowledge, is never agitated by the material happiness.
Yes. Let's go into the purports. 10th verse, Srila Prabhupada talks about Kaivalya here, because if you look at it, Lord Vishnu is talking about finally, how can one attain peace and situated equally with me as Satchitananda Vigraha, right? So, even in, Bhagavad Gita also, in 8th chapter, Krishna says, Antakalecha mameva smaran muktva kale varam. Yaha prayati samadbhavam yati naschatra samsayaha. Asamshayaha, he says. Of this, there is no doubt. Right? When one leaves body, remembering Krishna, right, they will attain his nature. And of this, there is no doubt. 8th chapter, Krishna talks about this. Right? I think 8th chapter, 5th shloka. Right? And the nature, what is the nature that he is referring to there is Satchitananda Vigraha. Krishna refers that, he will say, you will attain my nature. And what is that nature? That is called Satchit Ananda, right? Because he himself is Satchitananda Vigraha. So that is ultimately attaining the Kaivalya or liberation or moksha, right? Prabhupada discusses about the Mayavada Kaivalya versus Vaishnava Kaivalya here in this purport, right? He says, Mayavada Kaivalya is basically, they think that as soon as one is free from all the material contamination, he is merged into Brahman. So as soon as you finish your job on this world, right, on this earth, so Mayavadas or impersonalists believe that they will go back and merge in the Brahman, right? But Vaishnavas have a different understanding of this altogether. Vaishnavas understand what is the supreme position of the Lord and what is the position of ourselves. They will never try to merge with the Lord, right? Vaishnavas always think that we are the servants of Lord. That is an understanding. That is an understanding difference between Mayavada Kaivalya and Vaishnava Kaivalya, right? That is something which is, and they also think that they can never be equal to the Lord. They can never be equal to the Lord. Even if we get liberation and we go back to Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan, we are the eternal servitors of the Lord, and we will always be in the service of Supreme Lord wherever it is. Whether it is on the earthly planet or it is on a different planet, or finally getting liberation and going back to Goloka or Vaikuntha, whatever it is, we will be remaining as the eternal servants of Lord. How can one become liberated from the material bondage, right? 11th verse, Prabhupada is explaining, because here Lord Vishnu explains, in simply supervised by fixed soul is eligible to liberate from the material bondage. So certain things is what Srila Prabhupada is giving us. So one who understands the soul and body are different, they are eligible for the liberation. One who understands that Dehi is the soul and Deha is the body, they're eligible for the liberation also, right? So that's understanding Bhagavad Gita also very clearly gives us Dehin yosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. So Dehi and Deha. Dehi is soul, Deha is a body. And body is changing every moment, but soul is fixed. Kaumaram yavvanam jara, right? So body from the boyhood to the youth to the old person, it is changing, but soul will never change. It will remain as is. One who understands fixed position should not be disturbed by happiness and distress, right? Bhagavad Gita also gives this understanding. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agamapa iso nityas tamstit tikshasva bharata. Lord Krishna says in 2nd chapter Bhagavad Gita, right? All this happiness and distress, Arjuna, are temporary. They will come and go like a summer and winter, right? But you should not be shattered. You will have to stay there strong, right? So one who understands all these 4 factors are eligible to liberate ourselves is what Prabhupada explains in this purport. And finally, activities, the 12th shloka, if we look at it, activities of a spirit, soul versus body. There is a misconception, Prabhuji and Mataji, as Srila Prabhupada explains in this purport, right? Somebody says, when the living entity has to be superintendent of a body's activities, when we will have to look after the body's activities, how can it be different from the body activities? How can the soul be different? Because when we are monitoring our whole body activities, how can it be different from body activities versus spiritual activities, right? Prabhupada explains that these activities are completely different from the activities of a spirit soul. Bodily activities are completely different. Though we are monitoring, we are responsible, they are completely different from a spirit soul. Prabhupada quotes an example of a millionaire driving the car, right? Prabhupada says that there is a millionaire who is driving the car. He has an expensive car, right? And he is putting petrol and he is nicely driving, right? And when he is driving the car, though he is physically doing the activity of driving a car, he is constantly thinking about how to develop his business, right? How to invest in some whatever areas to double his money, right? How he should take care of his employees. All those things he's thinking. Though he is doing that activity, this activity is very, very important to him. If the car is failed somewhere or there is a puncture and he will have to change the Stephanie, he will not do it. He has some other activities which he need to perform, which are more important to him, right? In the same way, Prabhupada explains, though we are driving the bodily activities, those activities are not primarily for us. Spiritual activities, the spirit soul activities are much, much important than the bodily activities, right? 13. Yeah, one of you can read this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. My dear translation, my dear heroic king, please keep yourself always equipped and treat people equipoised and treat people equally, whether they are greater than you in the intermediate state or lower than you. Do not be disturbed by the temporary distress or happiness. Fully control your mind and senses. In this transcendental position, try to execute your duty as king in whatever condition of life you may be posted by my arrangements. For your only duty here is to give protection to the citizens of your kingdom.
Haribol. So it is Prabhupada, Lord Vishnu is clearly explaining what are the duties of a king here. We will see in purport when we go there, what Prabhupada is giving us an understanding of this. Next translation, one of you can do this.
To give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state is prescribed occupational duty for a king. By acting in that way, the king in his next life shares 1/6 of the result of the pious activities of the citizens. But a king or executive head of state who simply collects taxes from the citizens but does not give them proper protection as human beings has the results of his own pious activities taken away by the citizens, and in exchange for his not giving protection, he becomes liable to punishment for the impious activities of his subjects.
Hare Krishna. So by going with this shloka, Prabhuji and Matajis, isn't that all our politicians will be punished? All the politicians these days, whom we are voting and making our representatives, will they not be punished? Because it is clearly said by Supreme Lord. It is said that somebody collecting taxes from the citizen but does not care about the welfare of them and does not protect them are liable for the punishments, right? Therefore, we can be assured that all these people, all the politicians, 99.99% of them are liable for punishments because they are not actually performing their duties of protecting the citizen. They are only interested in making money or doing all nonsense things, right? So let's see what Prabhupada is going to say about these things. 13th shloka, direct instruction from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Look at the shloka, what he's saying. Lord Vishnu himself is saying that, right? You will have to control your mind and senses, and you will have to execute your duty. You will have to protect your citizens. This is your duty as a king. So there is no discussion. It is coming from Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's it. We will have to follow it and look at what Lord Vishnu's probably instruction, a clear instruction to Maharaj Prithu, right? It is one instruction. That's it. There is no deviation at all, right? As Bhagavad Gita says in the 2nd chapter, Vyavasayatmika buddhi rekeha kurunandana bahusha kakya nantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Don't get into too many branches, too many discussions. Just one point of focus. Be there. So Lord Vishnu is very, very clear that, as a king, this is your duty. You need to perform this duty. And unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, we glorify kings, basically, who renounced their kingdom, their people, and have, went into different directions, taking, sannyasis or whatever it is, right? But Lord Vishnu is saying this, and Bhagavad Gita says very clearly, you need to perform your duty. Only after you performing your duty, there is a different aspect altogether. But you cannot renounce the duty as a king. And in fact, if you look at the entire 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that's exactly what Lord Krishna says to Arjuna. You cannot run away like a coward, Arjuna. As a king, if you run away from the battlefield, you might have a different vision that you don't want to fight with your family, your grandfather, your guru, or your brothers. But that's exactly not what people will think. They will think that you are a coward. And the moment leader runs away, turns back and runs away, leaves the battlefield, all the soldiers will follow you. Yad yadacharati sreshta tattadevataro janaha. Whatever the leader does, the influenced person does, all the followers will simply blindly follow him. So that's what our scriptures talks about this Prabhuji and Mataji. There is no point to giving a false renunciation. None of our scriptures, none of our Puranas, none of our gods, Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, nobody supports this. Nobody renounced when it is supposed to be fighting. They stood up against adharma. Right? And it is a direct instruction from Supreme Personality of Godhead. Order from Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord or his bona fide representative should be executed. This is what Prabhupada's conclusion on this one. Of this, there is no discussion. Right? He simply says, when there is an order from Supreme Lord or his bona fide representative, that means our spiritual gurus or our Siksha gurus, should be executed without further discussion at all. Right? Yeah, 2.41 we discussed on this. Vyavasayatmika Bhakti. Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Look at this first 13 shloka also. Right? Lord Vishnu says, treat people equally. So much of relation between Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So he's saying you will have to treat people equally. And that's what the 5th chapter Krishna says. Right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini. Sunichaiva Supakacha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Right? It could be an elephant or a dog eater or a Brahmana, whoever it is, you will have to treat them equally, because in everybody, irrespective of whatever the person is, whether it is an animal or whatever it is, I am residing as a super soul. So Krishna is residing as a super soul or a Paramatma inside every living entity. So only a Pandita, a learned scholar, a yogi will understand this concept and start looking everybody equally and treating everybody equally. And that's exactly what Lord Vishnu is also talking and explaining to Maharaj Prithu. Significance of word Shreya. If we look at the 14th shloka, it says Shreya. So what is Shreya? Shreya exactly means auspiciousness. Right? Yeah, auspicious. So now here the question is, Prabhuji and Mataji, if everyone follows auspiciousness or coming to spirituality basically, then what will happen to other dharmas? Who will execute the different dharmas? So if everybody is only into Brahmanas, everybody is only preaching, what will happen to other dharmas, right? We need lawyers, we need doctors. What will happen to the society? We need engineers. So many people, right? What will happen to the society? That's exactly where Prabhupada explains that everybody will have to do their prescribed duty. As Lord Krishna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, Chatur Varanam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Right? And do your duty. He says, I have divided the society into 4 categories based on your guna and karma, not by the birth. Never by the birth. You can only be a Brahmana by your guna and karma. Right? Similarly, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, you can only be by your guna and karma. This is the conclusion and final instruction given by the Supreme Lord. Chatur Varanam Maya Srishtam. I did that. I created guna karma vibhagashaha. Right? And Prabhupada also explains this in the same way. The society, though it is divided into 4 different categories, everybody, there is a possibility, and it will have to be done in that way. Everybody will have to follow their dharma, their duty, and indulge into spirituality, finally attain liberation. Right? It is not that a Kshatriya can immediately become a Brahmana overnight. Then if Kshatriya becomes a Brahmana, who will protect Brahmanas? Who will protect the normal people? Right? That's exactly what we are seeing in today's society, where Varna Sankramana is happening. And that's where people are not happy, because we are not doing right things as per our guna and karma. Right? Somebody who's very good in sales is getting into HR. Somebody is very good in accounts is getting into delivery, IT. So where will they be happy? They will not be happy because they're doing something against this guna. Their quality is not that. Their quality is somewhere else. Right? Yeah, dependence on God versus insecurity. Right? So as soon as the instructions are given from the Lord, the expectation is we just close our eyes and follow. Right? That is the dependency that we have on Lord. And Prithu Maharaj exactly did it. Whenever, whatever the instruction is coming from Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is just listening it with a lot of humbleness and he is ready to follow it. Anyway, he's doing it, but he's ready to accept it because he has the dependency on God. He never thinks that, oh, I am Ahankara. I am the one who's doing everything. What is Supreme Personality of Godhead? What is Brahma telling me? No, nothing like that. He's taking the instructions from them. That is the dependency on the Lord. Right? He never felt that I am the doer. Prakrutehi kriyamanani gunaiha karmani sarvashaha. Ahankara vimudatma kartaham mihi manyate. Third chapter, Krishna says, don't think that you are the one who are doing everything. That it is happening as per the instructions of material nature. And who is managing the material nature? It is me. It comes in 9th chapter. Again, Maya Dikshena Prakrita Suyeta Sacharacharam Hetu Nanena Kaunteya Jagat Parivartate. Right? I am the one who is managing Adhyaksha of material nature. And everything is happening under the guidance of material nature, Arjuna. Don't think that you are doing everything. Right? And the person who thinks like that is just an Ahankari. Right? So that is the reason the dependency what Maharaj Pruthi is having on Lord Vishnu. Versus insecurity. What is insecurity here? Indra's insecurity. Right? Why? He knows that, oh my God, if Maharaj Prithu finishes this 100th sacrifice, he will he might also get into the position of Indra. Never know. Right? What will happen? What will happen to my position? Right? Therefore, he got into insecurity. But Maharaj Prithu is never like that. He had dependency on God. Right? Yes. Yes. 15th translation. Can one of you do this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Lord Vishnu continued, my dear King Prithu, if you continue to protect the citizens according to the instructions of the learned Brahmana authorities, as they are received by the disciplic succession, by hearing from master to disciple, and if you follow the religious principles laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by material concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. And very soon you will be able to see such already liberated personalities as the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I read the next one?
Yes, please. Translation.
My dear King, I was very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, and thus I am very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask for me any benefication you like. One who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favorite simply by performance of sacrifices, survey austerities of mystic yoga, but I always remain equipoised in the heart of one who is also equipoised in all
circumstances.
all circumstances.
Jordan, in
all circumstances.
Yes. Let's go into the purports. Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu advised King Prithu that everyone should follow the principles of Varnashrama Dharma and follow great sages and acharyas. If we see the 15th shloka, it is very evident there. Right? Is it possible to follow Varnashrama Dharma now? That's the big question Prabhupada asks in this purport, and he also gives an answer. So practically, Prabhuji and Matajis, is it possible for all of us to follow Varnashrama Dharma in this Kali Yuga? Right? The answer is almost impossible. Right? Because, Brahmacharya, Gruhastha, to some extent, okay. After that, Vanaprastham, where are forests? Where will we go live in forests? Right? It is practically not possible. Then Prabhupada says, the only solution for this, that we can't follow Varnashrama Dharma, is whatever we do, we situate in Krishna consciousness. That's the only situation. That's the only solution to it. Whichever ashrama you are, even if you are in Vanaprastha, and if you are not able to go to a forest and start renouncing things, only thing you can do is situate yourself in Krishna consciousness. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. Simple. The Lord openly says that performing great sacrifices or undergoing the austerities of a mystic yoga practice cannot satisfy him. Right? As we discussed in the starting shlokas of this chapter. Right? I said as we progress, we will discuss about that. Right? It is a declaration of the God that only the performance of great sacrifices or mystic practices cannot satisfy him. Right? And that we could see that very evidently in the Kali Yuga. Right? People doing all sort of nonsense, but one fine day they will sit and do some big yajna and think that they can satisfy Lord Vishnu. Right? One day doing yajna in your entire life, do you think that Vishnu will be really happy with you? Answer is definitely no. But how will Vishnu be happy? Apart from doing these things, there are certain qualities a person should have. Only then Lord Vishnu or Supreme Personality of Godhead will be happy. Right? He is pleased only by the elevated character and behavior. But these cannot develop unless one becomes a pure devotee of a Lord. Right? So only if somebody has those kind of qualities and behavior, Lord Vishnu will be pleased. But how can it be? Can it happen overnight? No. Only a devotee can possess all those qualities. What are those qualities? Prabhupada explains there are 26 such qualities. Right? Kind to everyone, does not quarrel with anyone, fixed in the absolute truth, equal to everyone, faultless, charitable, mild, clean, simple, benevolent, peaceful, completely attached to Krishna, has no material hankering, meek, steady, self-controlled, does not eat more than required, sane, respectful, humble, grave, compassionate, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. So only when a person has all these qualities, one can completely please Lord Vishnu. And only a devotee can have all these qualities. Right? Yeah. 17. Yeah, one of you can read this translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The great saint Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, in this way, Maharaj Prithu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Godhead on his head."
Godhead on his head. Yes. So he's taken those. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 18 translation.
Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Translation. As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. But Prithu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for sacrifice.
Hari Bol. 19.
King Prithu abundantly worshipped. Translation. King Prithu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was so merciful to him. While worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Prithu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let's go into the purpose. Forgiveness versus envy. Right? We see in the 18th shloka how Prithu Maharaj has immediately forgiven Indra. Right? But look at Indra's attitude. Right? He's very envious. He's very envious that, what will happen to his position basically. Right? Because as we discussed earlier, he's in the material world. So he will be influenced by the three modes of material nature. Right? So if Prabhujan Mataji's, if Indra cannot be escaped from the influence of material nature. What are we? And this is not the first time Indra is doing. Here, at least, Indra is, or maybe, maybe it's the first time because it is much earlier than Dwapara Yuga, maybe when this would have happened, right? This is not the only time Indra did this, right? Even after understanding all these things, here it is still okay that he attempted with Maharaj Prithu. But in Dwapara Yuga, when he attempted this with Lord Krishna himself as well, right? We all know the Govardhan Leela, right? He attempted all the way, with Lord Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, at least he did it with Maharaj Prithu. Right? That is the level of envious, or that is the level of influence of three modes of material nature. Understanding that, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he still tried disturbing it. Right? Through Govardhan Leela. Right? We have seen that. We all know that. Right? That's what, I think, if you look at it, Prabhuji and Mataji, this way, even Krishna confirms that. Right? It's not easy for anybody and everybody to know him. In 10th chapter, Krishna says, Name viduku suraganaha prabhavanna maharshayaha aham adirhi jivanam maharshi namcha sarvashaha. Not even demigods, great sages who are actually coming out of me can actually understand me. It is not easy, right? Bahunam janmana mante gnanavan mam prapadyante vasudevaha sarvam viti samahatma sudurlabha. After so many lives and deaths, one will understand, one will come to me, right? Thinking, saying, Krishna is ultimate. Vasudevaha sarvam viti. And he says, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such person is very, very rare, right? And we have seen that very much in the case of Indra also. Indra himself cannot escape from this modes of material nature. What are we? That is the level of envious that he has, right? Behavior of Vaishnavas. Prabhupada explains, though there is a kind of disturbance between Indra and Maharaj Prithu, right? Ultimately, both of them are Vaishnavas because they are devotees of Lord Krishna, right? So immediately when Lord Vishnu asked him to forgive, Maharaj Prithu immediately forgave him, right? Because he's a Vaishnava. He will not have all these behavioral problems for a longer duration. No krodha for a longer time. Vaishnavas does not have that, right? And Indra also immediately asked for his forgiveness because he's also a devotee of Supreme Lord, right? And 19th shloka, if you look at it, while worshipping the lotus feet of Lord, Prithu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service. Prabhupada talks about Ashtasattvika Vikara. That means 8 kinds of transcendental transformations which happens in our body when we are in deep devotional service, right? Something like, crying in madness, perspiring, laughing, jumping, right? We don't know what we are doing, right? And we have seen that when we are reading about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, we have seen that where, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go in front of the Rath in Puri, and out of ecstasy, he used to faint and he used to cry, right? That is the transcendental transformation which happens in the body. And Prabhupada talks about that is in this purport. Right? So last verse of this section, I will do it. The Lord was just about to leave, but because he was so greatly inclined toward the behavior of King Prithu, he did not depart. Seeing the behavior of Maharaj Prithu with his lotus eyes, he was detained because he is always the well-wisher of his devotees. Right? Let's go into the purport. Significance of Shrut Satam. There is in the last line, you see Shrut Satam. What does Shrut Satam means? It means the well-wisher. Right? Shrut Satam exactly means the well-wisher. 9.29 in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha. Right? He says, I am neither envious nor dear to anyone, because all of them are my children. Everybody are my children. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I treat everybody equally. The same thing is coming here. But Prabhuji and Mataji's, God is a well-wisher. Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is a well-wisher of his devotees. He has special affection towards his devotees. Why? Prabhuji, then how come it is? Right? Everybody is equal, right? Everybody is equal to Lord. Then how can he have partiality for certain people or maybe his devotees? Right? It is explained in this way, Prabhuji and Mataji's. A father might have two sons, right? But he will have some kind of inclination towards his elder son or a younger son, whatever it is, for several reasons. Maybe elder son or elder daughter, whatever it is, two children, whoever it is, right? Elder one is born first, obviously. Therefore, inclination or affection is higher towards the elder one. Or maybe somebody has a lot of affection towards the younger one because the younger one is so humble, listens to the father or whatever it is. So he has a little bit of more affection towards either elder one or younger one based on the certain qualities. Does that mean that he hates the other one? No, it is not. It is just that little bit of special affection. In the same way, though Lord Krishna treats everybody equally, everyone equally, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, but he has a special affection towards his devotees. That's exactly what explained in this verse, right? So with that, yeah, I think 10.10 of Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna explains this. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajantam priti purvakam. Right? He says, whoever is in complete service of me, right? I will give them a way to come back. Right? 10.10 shloka of Bhagavad Gita, he confirms this. Right? Couple of takeaways from this section. So, knowledge to be acquired only through the Lord or his bona fide devotees or acharyas. We cannot acquire the knowledge from any Tom, Dick, and Harry. No, it is not possible. It will have to, our guru will have to be in the lineage, in the parampara. Only one's qualities can fully satisfy the Supreme Lord. Though we are doing yajnas, homas, all those things, unless somebody has those qualities as a pure devotee, Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna cannot be completely satisfied. Pure connection with Supreme will result in not being affected by the material nature. Though we are contaminated, we can be influenced, but the only way that we cannot be influenced is having the pure connection with the Supreme Lord. Lord's instructions to be followed without questions. That's it. There are no questions. A lot of people might question, have doubts on Bhagavad Gita also, but fine, all mundane interpretations. It is simple that there is no discussion on Lord's instructions. Lord's special affection on his devotees. As we just discussed, Supreme Lord has special affection on the devotees, like the father has some special inclination towards one of his child. Right? With that, I will close this session. And after that, what happened? After that, because Supreme Lord does not want to leave the arena. He wants to talk to Prithu Maharaj looking at his qualities. So after that, what happened? What are the discussions? And finally, how did entire episode concluded? That His Grace Prasad Prabhu will explain tomorrow. Thank you very much. And we are open to any reflections, any questions, any discussions. I'm sorry if I have spoken anything wrong. Please forgive me. I tried attempting, though I am not qualified. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dasraj Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
Dandat Pranam.
Wonderful class with very clear explanations and examples that are much needed. Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandat Pranam.
Prabhuji, one thing is, Prithu Maharaj himself is the Amsha of Vishnu.
Yeah.
And yet he is taking instructions from Vishnu himself.
Yeah.
So that's really sometimes, Prithu Maharaj is already know everything, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
as the Amsha of Vishnu, he knows everything.
Yes.
So just wondered, can you elaborate?
With my understanding on this, I think Lilananda Prabhu is there. His Grace Giriraj Prabhu are there. They can correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding on this, Prabhu, though he is a direct Amsha of Lord Vishnu, when they are in the material world, they have certain duties to be performed. Right? Ideally, right, if you look at it, when he is Lord Vishnu himself, why does he need to perform 100 sacrifices himself? Right? So my understanding, when they are in the material world, they have certain duties to be performed. They have done that. And this is also a kind of example for others, Prabhuji. Though they have the complete knowledge, even in Bhagavad Gita, right, that knowledge is actually meant for the conditioned soul like us who are coming in the future yuga, like Kali Yuga, right? Does Arjuna not know that Krishna is the ultimate, or Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He knows everything. But through him, Lord Krishna has given that knowledge to us through Arjuna. In the same way, my understanding is that Lord Vishnu has given this knowledge to us through Prithu Maharaj. Lilananda Prabhu, please correct me if I am wrong.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. Sorry, I'm actually driving to Pakistan. I heard your answer. You're fine, Prabhuji. Absolutely fine.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I hope I answered you.
Yes, Prabhuji, absolutely. But I mean, only thing is like, we have another amshas of avatars, like, we have, Vyasdev is also one amsha, and
yes,
and also we have Shukadev Goswami is also, we call it like amsha, right? So just only trying to, in those cases, Vishnu did not directly came and gave any instruction, but only specifically for Prithu Maharaj, there's so much elaborately, he has given all the instructions.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. The key takeaways were very nicely done, Prabhuji. Thank you for preparing so well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Subhara Prabhu. Any more reflections?
As you mentioned, at in takeaways 10.10. It is one of my favorite verse, Prabhuji. Tesham Satayuktanam.
Yeah, Bhajantam Priti Purvakam. Yes.
The three things in that mentioned, right? To those who are constantly serving me with love.
Yes.
Everything. So very wonderfully prepared, and thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone, any feedback or any reflections? If not, probably we can conclude.
Wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Shilpa Mataji, I think we can conclude. Vancha kalpatarupyasya kripa sindhubhya nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava Vrundi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Gaur Hari Premanande, Hari Hari.
Dasraj Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Dasraj Prabhu ki jai.
Hare.
Thank you everyone for joining. I'm ending the session here.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.